So with memory, we have where and how we store that. So what is consolidation?
Consolidation is when the information comes in and it actually, I don't know, like, when I think of consolidation, I think it stays there. It's kind of like
You're consolidating it into your storage. Yep, exactly.
processing it.
So what two, if we were looking at these again, encoding, storage, and retrieval, where do you think consolidation falls into this process?
I would say storage.
Yeah. It comes right before storage.
Okay.
So you're very close. So this comes between steps 1 and 2.
Okay.
So this, we do consolidation in between encoding and storage. So when we talk about consolidation, like you said, it's putting it into storage. Can you tell me how we do that?
You mean like methods?
I mean, close. I mean, like, if you were to say, I'm consolidating information, besides putting it into storage, what else would you be doing? Even if you had to guess.
Well, I don't think it's the answer, but I'm just thinking of you would be like, again, like repeating the number to like get it in your brain, and then that would store it. That's what I think of.
You're actually right, yeah. So consolidation is basically paying enough attention to it.
Like putting effort into it?
Okay.
Okay.
So it's saying, I am going to remember this. Because if you tell me a phone number and I'm not paying attention and I have no effort in it, I'm not going to remember that phone number.
Yeah.
If you tell me the phone number and I am going, okay, I'm going to put some effort into remembering this, I'm going to repeat it until I can put it in my phone, I'm going to remember it.
Yeah.
So, good job. What is reconsolidation then?
When you have to reconsolidate, when you know a memory, when you forget a memory and you're like, oh yeah, I have to remember that again.
So it's trying to remember.
Yeah.
Exactly. Trying to remember, so you're trying to like kind of go back into that stage where you were before. So if I'm trying to remember where I've smelled a smell before, I might try to remember what was associated with that smell. So if I'm trying to remember where I've smelled that kind of pie before, I might say, well, my grandma probably made it, and what kind of pies did she make, and you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay. What 2 steps would you say that falls between?
Reconsolidation? Storage and retrieval.
Correct. Exactly. All right. So this is kind of a little bit more about how we store our memory. So what is long-term potentiation?
Long-term potentiation is during storage, right? Is it?
Yes.
So during storage, when basically when the information goes between the synapse, so it actually becomes permanent in your brain.
So long-term potentiation is about going through this over and over and over again. So the more I repeat that phone number, the more I smell that pie, the more I say somebody's name, that is going to be long-term potentiation. And what happens when that happens?
Okay.
So what does happen when long-term potentiation, when we do it again and again and again?
Repetition?
Yeah.
Is the word? Or?
I'm looking for what happens with the memory. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So what I mean is the more we do this, the easier it is for us to remember.
Okay.
It becomes like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is more about what we use to memorize and where it goes. So can you tell me what glutamate is?
So that's the actual transmitter that initiates the long-term potentiation.
So this is the neurotransmitter, and it is associated with 2 things mainly. What would you say?
The LTP. have
More like
absolutely.
the process of what we're doing with our brain. So I use a neurotransmitter to do two things.
To initiate encoding and store.
Good. So I use it for memory.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of going along with that, I use it for learning. So when I'm learning something new,
Mm-hmm.
and of course these two feed off of each other very much. So what is amygdala?
Oh, that's where emotional memories are kind of stored.
Exactly. Amygdala is about processing emotions, which is of course usually a pretty big part of our memories,
Mm-hmm.
at least as far as ones of events or people go. All right. And so in relation to the amygdala, what is the hippocampus?
The hippocampus is kind of the kind of directs where everything goes. So the memory goes into it, and then it says, "Oh, this is, visual, so it goes there." Or this
Mhm.
is.
So hippocampus, so this processes it,
Mm-hmm.
and this directs it,
Mm-hmm.
but usually more specifically with the emotional memories. It's also usually where they're stored. Okay. And then last one, what is the cerebellum?
Cerebellum is for implicit memories,
Mm-hmm.
and as an example, I put Pavlov's dogs. So, kind of, I'm trying to think like things that you are just used to doing, kind of.
Mm-hmm. So implicit memory means our motivation for that memory comes from within, whereas
Mhm.
explicit memory means that motivation comes from outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So with Pavlov's dogs, their desire for the food was what caused the memory of what to do in the conditioning
Mhm.
exercise to happen. Perfect. All right, any questions on this?
No.
Okay.